Okay, test, test. I look like I should be live. Okay, and there we go. And I'm just going to listen to myself for a second here to make sure. Okay, test, things work. Test, I look like I should be live. Okay. And yeah, that seems to work. So we're gonna, give the video a like. So we're gonna real quickly before we kick into things. So I am the XX cis white sniper XX. It's a very good username. And I haven't made a video in a while. Haven't just been what my life is, and I'm doing a stream now because I wanted and kind of the idea of stream content, having it just be kind of like ready and done. Don't have to spend like an hour processing it in Adobe afterwards. So doing a stream, so no edits. My cat just ate, and he is now in snapping mode, it looks like, so hopefully he'll be quiet and on good behavior. I'm just sitting at home. My fiance's desk is behind me, and they're out, so just got the place to myself. And so this video, this thing up on stream right now. So as you can clearly see, we got a he hung up absurd debate with non-compete quickly derails. And we're watching this from Vaush's channel, and I don't really actually watch YouTube on this account because it's my making videos account, not my personal one. But I'm sub to Vaush. So just kind of establish where we're coming at, because I haven't done this kind of live react. I've mostly just had some videos where I ranted about a topic, or I had some videos so far where I was just playing a video game and talking about just various thoughts on politics and just other assorted issues. It's like I want to say it's like I was discussing philosophy, but it's like I'm not like a pro philosopher or anything. But it's like, I mean, some of the stuff, it's like it was, things about arguments and rhetoric and how you talk to and like convince people, which is kind of, there's overlap with philosophy there. But, try to set the stage here a bit. So just, me. I'm generally a fan of Vaush. Been watching him, I think, for over 2 years now, and I'm generally a fan of him. Don't agree with him on like everything, but hey, we're different people, and I agree with him on a lot of things. And especially when I first found him, I really, really appreciated his style, and I really appreciated his approach. I like the way that he was willing to argue and do a lot of debates and just actually really fight for what he believes. And he wasn't like overly scared or sensitive about just going and arguing with Nazis, because that was a big thing on his channel early in the day, and back when he was smaller. So he would just argue with random fucking Nazis all the time. And I kind of remember from those days where I think it reached a point where pretty much every Nazi on the internet seemed to know who Vaush was, and they all fucking hated him because the trick. Here's the trick, just pro-life trick for arguing with a Nazi. Just don't get mad. If you don't get mad, eventually they will. And when a Nazi gets mad, they fucking implode. They're Nazis. They're not running with a full loadout to start with. So when their anger spills over, they're not. If they were better at handling their emotions, good chance they wouldn't be a friggin' Nazi. So if I should do that shit, he just set them up to trip over their own shit, and he'd look at their crappy sources and engage with them, and just, it's one of those things where it's hey, it can be time consuming. So I get why people don't want to do it normally, because it's it's the thing where Nazis will they'll come out, oh, but look at this, have you read this, have you seen this, look, if you read this, then it'll explain how I'm correct. And then the fun thing, normally people are like, fuck that, I don't fucking care what a Nazi has. And the fun thing is if you look into it, like if you look into it even once, it's just like, oh, this is a lot of bullshit. This is like I'm attending like a seminar for a cult and I'm looking at like their brochures and it's just like, oh, this is obviously fucking cult nonsense. And like once you've done that once, it's like, oh, cool. Every cult is fucking nonsense in pretty much the same way. And Vaush would do that with Nazis, where it's just like, okay, yeah, tell me about how Trotsky was a Jew and was yes, please show me fake quotes that are not attributed or sourced to anything, but it's Trotsky telling a random newspaper about his plot to use black people to destroy the white. Yeah, totally. This is your information. Yeah, this is where you're building off of. Like, cool. Nazis are fucking idiots. So anyway, I really liked and appreciated that kind of thing with Vaush. So, way onto our thing here. Try to give some of the background, again, then on just the specific interaction. So, probably the quickest way to explain is, and like, I'm not like a fan or a viewer of NonCompete. I don't know if I've ever seen a single video of his. So I'm not going to give like a super detailed breakdown on any of his stuff. I haven't seen it. So, from having seen this conversation with Vaush before, I'm not inclined to watch it, but I don't know what I'm saying about that. But I just know he considers himself a lefty. He lives in Vietnam. He has a YouTube channel where he makes videos and talks about stuff. I think it's like kind of like general video essay format. And I know he's married to a Vietnamese woman named Luna, who also, I don't know if it's just they work together on the same channel, or I think Luna has her own channel, and Luna also makes videos. And like they both live in Vietnam, and like Luna's like from Vietnam. NonCompete, as you might be guessing, is not natively from Vietnam, and there is nothing wrong with any of that. I don't know. Sometimes people say like, or it'll come up in this video about whatever, but like, just speaking personally, I mean, I don't, like good for him. I mean, I think they've been married for like. They've been married for years or something, and good for him. For him, he's got a wife he loves, and they have like a similar interest in like politics. So it's like fucking good for NonCompete there. Happy for him that he's got like a wife he seems to get along with. That's nice. But so the thing would be where kind of some of this conflict starts is that Luna had some video she uploaded talking something about communism and leftism and whatever, and we'll just do a quickie look here. Now, here's a fun gap in my knowledge. I know Vaush covered Luna's video. I haven't actually watched that. I haven't actually seen what Luna's video was like, or really all that much of like what Vaush was like saying or responding to it. And we can, just do the quickie look of, Luna Boy is like her full name. So, uploaded on the Vaush Pit, that's his secondary channel for kind of like less serious stuff. And our title is, "This is the stupidest tanky video I've ever seen. Brain damage suffered." Vaush goes over a video Luna Oi put out called "How to Think Like a Vietnamese Communist and Intro to Dialectical Materialism." So, that's that. This thing is 2 hours long. I haven't seen it. Maybe I will sometime. I'm kind of feeling like that might be an enjoyable listen. But, as we could guess from the title here, Vaush clearly had a very negative perception of Luna and Luna's politics. And for anyone who doesn't know, the real quickie short version of just what I would say take from this is the term tanky. Basically, like it usually refers to what we would call an authoritarian leftist. If you've ever seen The Political Compass, I'll just pull it up. Which the Political Compass graph is not some perfect, like all-encompassing. It's a rough tool. There's plenty of reasons to criticize it. But oh my god, that's fucking tiny. Just so you see it, and the general way it. Well, you see it. No, the only way you can see it is that there's a left-right axis and an authoritarian-libertarian axis, and you can definitely quibble about what this is. It's a fucking picture that's meant to be representing people's like political views, and shit's all subjective. But so the distinction for a tanky though would generally be that they're more on the authoritarian side of being a leftist. This is where say like Stalin in the USSR, they generally get placed like high up on the authoritarian axis, and then you run to there's a bit of a big conflict there among leftist circles, because most people on the left, people who have like actually engaged with just theory or writing from Karl Marx, people generally put like Karl Marx like communism. It's like the ideal utopian like end state. You've achieved communism itself. Like that shit sounds real like bottom left, not authoritarian. In this case, libertarian. And this is not American like libertarian. This is more just generic definition of libertarian, where it's being in opposition to authoritarianism here, which is one of those things where in the U.S. the reputation is, it's like most people who call themselves libertarian are, it's like they're Republicans who just don't have a problem with weed is usually the meme. But the less America specific definition for like libertarian here would usually just mean like wanting to like dismantle hierarchies. So just stuff like the idea of like a monarchy or a dictatorship, like a military dictatorship, is like very antithetical. They want something that's a lot more like flat and democratic and like takes input from all parties, because then that makes the system responsive to all the actual members of it. Kind of the idea of like having a general public democracy where like every adult can vote is definitely way more of like on the libertarian view of things versus like again like the Soviet like USSR under Stalin, where like Stalin was just like having people executed for being against the state. I'm finger quoting as hard as I possibly fucking can when I say Stalin executed people for being against the project of the communist Russians. This is if you're disagreeing with us, well, we're the communists, so you're disagreeing with communism, so you're anti-communism. So we got all right, fuck that shit. I hate that shit. Vaush is definitely in the lib left area here. His criticism calling Luna Oi a tanky, saying she's making tanky points, puts her more in the top left here. And I don't know a ton about the Vietnamese government. I've just read a little bit just from I don't have a strong take on it, but just from what I was seeing, I mean, I wasn't getting strong, like, the Vietnamese government is, like, all about their, like, freedom and, open equality and providing for, I wasn't quite, they definitely seem to consider themselves leftists, and they very well could be, but, like, they definitely, I was getting some vibes from the stuff I was seeing that, like, the Vietnamese government puts out about itself, that I was definitely getting some more authoritarian-y vibes here. And there's a billion, trillion, million conversations you can have about all these different things. But that's just the quickie, and that's where, say, Vaush has described himself as a libertarian socialist, which is the opposite of being like an authoritarian, or like a, what's the term? There's MLs, or Marxist-Leninism, which from what I understand is kind of what like Stalin was calling and promote. So in a way, Marxist-Leninism, from people who don't like it but are leftist, the critique of Marxist-Leninism would be that it doesn't seem to actually like it's not actually like respecting or utilizing the actual like lessons or the political ideas of either Marx or Lenin, because I'll just say from my experience, and it's a limited experience, but from everything I've seen, MLs all seem like fucking authoritarians, and I don't really fucking like them, and they don't seem very useful. and they seem to have a problem with being smug assholes. Now that might just be because it's on the internet, and you're gonna notice smug assholes more than people who are just quietly they're going out and organizing like IRL in their town, in their city. But like from that kind of thing, I'm more aligned with Vaush on that. I'm not really interested in helping like your vanguard party of the expertly learned communists who have totally definitely read and memorized the books, because that's how you become a leftist. You read the book and you memorize every line in it, and now you know how to do leftism, because like, you know, as if it's impossible to just be like, hey, I would like things to be less fucked up, and I don't like it when like people are hurt and suffering. And I think it's fucked up that we like throw away food when there are hungry people. Like maybe we could like not fucking do that. You know, you can just kind of bootstrap yourself like Jesus style and just being like, you know, should probably try to like treat everyone nicely, because then it's for everyone's benefit. Like boom, all right, you're on the path to leftism if you have some empathy and just want to try to raise the floor up for what everyone's life gets to be like. But so Vaush, negative on Luna Oi. Now, and then a thing that will get mentioned is just that on like the day where Vaush and NonCompete talked, like that day NonCompete released a video. Okay, and he had a video called Vaush is a Manipulative Liar. Strong title. And Vaush hadn't watched the video before talking to NonCompete. I think it sounds like he watched it afterwards, and as we can probably guess from the title there, gonna guess Vaush didn't. I haven't seen this one either, so I don't know what fucking NonCompete's video was about. Shit, that's gonna be 2 hours and 45 minutes, so geez. But, you know, negative. There's bad blood. There's negativity. But the reason I'm not going to click or look on this is just because Vaush hadn't even watched it beforehand, so it's not influencing him, and it had like come out that day, so whatever. But yeah, so Luna's his wife, and we have this little teaser thing. Vaush has been doing this lately, where there's like some little like, you know, highlight clip as the teaser, and I'll say too, just right before we play. Last thing I say just before I hit play, and then I'm going to end up pausing in 30 seconds. But I've seen this conversation between these two twice. I saw it once when it was live. I was done with work, I think, when it was happening. I happened to catch it live. So I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this seems interesting. So I watched it live once. And then like a week later or something, I watched it a second time with my partner, who hadn't seen it. They're also, if it's not obvious, I consider myself politically left-leaning. They also consider themselves politically left-leaning. And, you know, the quickie recap of that is that neither of us, our opinion of NonCompete was lowered from seeing his interaction with Vaush. I believe my partner said something about feeling quite justified in not having watched NonCompete's videos after seeing him talk to Vaush. And yeah, I got no fucking interest in the guy's channel after this. But yeah, we got a little spicy highlight here, so let's take a look.
Wait, do you think an idealism is when you construct a hypothetical? Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical materialism.
There's no
and you're
point
struggling
in having this discussion is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means when you construct a hypothetical? Have you read Capital? It's full of hypotheticals.
That has nothing to do with reality, and you think that that gets you closer to the truth. That is idealism, because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism is not when you.
Materialist, and my basis
for
finding truth.
I see the issue. You think idealism is when you think, which is why you don't.
Gosh, that was a mean thing to say. You can't say mean things to people. They won't like you if you're mean to them. Yeah, so that was that moment. And so things we don't start there, but we're gonna get there relatively soon. I'll also say with this video, yeah, so because Vaush's whole video here is an hour and 47 minutes. but the debate with non-compete gets up to like 50 there. So I'm gonna definitely, at least I want to get to that section. I don't know if I'm gonna hang around for all the posts, because that's mostly just going to be Vaush looking at and talking about things, and I don't know if I really have much commentary for that, because I'm recalling that I broadly agree with like Vaush's post-debate take, so might not be much to say. But yeah, I'm doing this stuff without any sort of script, and I am a bit of an ADD kind of guy, so no structure here. And the beginning, obviously, we're 40 seconds into the video, even though I'm sure I've been streaming for, oh god, like 20 minutes. Yeah, wow, if you've ever seen the channel EFAP, I am setting like an EFAP style pace here of taking 5 minutes to get through 30 seconds of footage. That'll speed up a bit. It's always it's more dense and heavy at the beginning, because there was all the things we had to set up. So, but something I want to say why I'm doing this video, because, I'm going to have some fun here, but I'm not just doing this for fun. I'm not just doing this to, like, shit on, like, non-compete and just totally dunk on him. I'll probably do it a little, I might do it a little bit. I'm not saying I won't do it, but that's not my purpose here. Vaush already did that plenty. Kind of the idea, what I want to talk about, and this is born out of conversations with my fiance, like after, during and after watching the video where we were having kind of these conversations, and I thought it was something worth sharing. But I kind of want to focus on, like, just kind of matters related to, like, charitability, assumptions, intentions, what people's goals are in a conversation, what biases people might have, and how their biases could be affecting them. And I think there's lots of real good examples in here where, and it's not like it's all just non-compete. There's stuff we can analyze from Vaush here about, like, what does Vaush's mindset seem to be, and what do his biases or, like, assumptions seem to be, and what does he seem to want to communicate? What does he want to get out of the conversation? What does non-compete want to get out of the conversation? And how well do either of them do at, like, accomplishing the things they seem to have wanted? So, because that's kind of something I wanted to talk about, because I feel like it's like good meta information about how we communicate, and just things you can learn, things that I saw that were like lacking, and led to this not being anywhere near as fruitful as they could have been. Because while this was a very fun conversation, I don't know, the fruitfulness of this is, spoilers, mostly just going to be that non-compete looks like a fucking dumbass who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Spoilers, I'm biased. Oh, we're going in, I'm already calling non-compete a dumbass who doesn't know what he's talking about. But I mean, I saw the video, I've seen this conversation twice. He doesn't seem to know what the fuck he's talking about, and it's a tad bit concerning, given that he makes videos talking about political topics and, like, political theory and shit. I won't go onto it forever. And I have whiskey in here, so I'm gonna get a little, drunk while we watch.
Thank you for agreeing to talk to me. I want to set this up by saying there is overlap between our audiences, and some of the
could be true.
Some of the people
I believe it,
who watch your stream and watch mine have told me that I should reach out to you and talk to you, and they said you would be reasonable. I don't watch a ton of your content, so I'm taking their word for it, and I want to talk to you in good faith, and I know that
non-compete's just kind of
has been
introducing himself.
Beef going on between you, me, and Luna, and some other people.
No problems.
Developing for some time, so I just want to address that.
Perfectly reasonable so far.
Respond to some questions and things like that. So does that all sound like what we kind of agreed to in the emails? Does that sound...
Yeah.
All right, I'll just quickie one from me here, but just that all sounded fine. Nothing. I'd say I don't have anything to comment on there, because nothing about what he said seemed like weird or odd, and we're gonna fucking get there real quick. But, like, for this right here, it's like, me watching this live and someone who I don't think I've seen a non-compete video. Like maybe I saw one like 4 years ago or something, but I don't remember. Right, watching this live, I was just like, okay, so far so good. He seems normal and like he's not a fucking crazy person. Because if you watch enough Vaush debates, and there are some very funny ones but you can't assume that people aren't fucking crazy. Because Vaush has talked to some people that were they weren't okay. They didn't seem to be okay. The takeaway from listening to them talk was, oh no, does this person have a caretaker? Are they eating properly? Are they like cleaning themselves when they should? Like I don't know. Non-compete at least seems to be like a functional adult. He doesn't need to be reminded to breathe.
Yeah, my pleasure. No, this is a bit of a novelty for me. Normally, when people disagree with me, they sort of just take shots on Twitter. I actually have a lot of respect for people who like hashing it out. Whatever my reputation might precede, I do actually enjoy just calmly talking about disagreements.
And I'll just say again, as someone who's like watched Vaush for I think over 2 years now, that he said that a lot of times, and I think that's generally true. And yeah, it's one of those things where we won't. The point of this like stream I'm doing is not to talk about all the various like Vaush drama, Vaush controversy. There are all sorts of videos I'm sure that go into that, so you can use those as a good primer there. So I won't get into it, but just if you go say on Twitter or Reddit, I mean you can definitely find communities of people that fucking hate Vaush, and in my biased opinion as a Vaush fan, those people. One of the jokes is that they seem to be talking about Vaush, or they're clearly not talking about Vaush. They can't be, because the things they're describing and the positions they're attributing aren't Vaush's fucking positions. So just there's a lot of people who seem to have they hate Vaush, and they hate Vaush for very nonsensical, unsupported reasons. They hate Vaush for reasons where it just seems like it's like, hey, just calm the fuck down. You don't have to do this to yourself. So I believe Vaush when he says he's happy that non-compete here is actually coming on to actually just fucking talk and hash shit out a bit. It's not gonna work, but like the attempt has been made, and I give non-compete a point for. He's going to lose a lot of points, but like he does get a point here for coming on. He's going to fucking lose them all, but like the tally will show a point was gained.
But yeah, hit me up. You sent me an email the other day, and some people in chat were complaining like you put out a video shit talking me. But in the email, to your credit, you did say, "Hey, I'm going to put this video out, so don't interpret this as some kind of like sneaky, So yeah, I don't think they have anything to complain about.
Yeah, and then also, people have differences about what's appropriate and what's not. One of the reasons I put the video out before the conversation was because I wanted to kind of formulate my thoughts and have some sort of basis to speak on. So I do want to try to get your. Yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the things I said. I doubt you've had time to watch it because it was a very long video, and it's only been like maybe 11 hours since I uploaded it. So
no, I'm afraid I have not. I saw some people in my community reacting to it. Some liked it, some didn't. I'm known for having a disagreeable community, so I guess I'll see when I see.
Wait a minute. Let me just. Okay, so all right, so yeah, I think we're all on the same page about that stuff. So
we're on the same page.
We can talk about the real issues.
Yeah, hit me
it's
up.
all good in the hood.
Okay, so there's three things, and I told you in the email, like three things I really wanted to kind of talk about, and the first thing is about, and I don't expect this to be a very long discussion. The first part, I wanted to just talk about the responsibility that we have as creators that have a large platform, right? So like, you and I both have pretty large platforms. I've got like over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You have. I don't know. What are you up to now? You're pretty big.
It's like
so far
360, 370.
just facts.
Yeah, well, you
Just
have a ton of
facts.
people watch your stream. I mean, you have very impressive numbers in terms of watching your live streams. So, I think it's safe to say that we both have pretty substantial platforms.
It even sounded like a
So,
compliment.
I
How
guess the
nice.
first question I would ask is just in general, do you agree with me that when somebody has a large platform, it comes with a certain responsibility?
Yes.
Okay, I figured you'd agree with me on that.
Hell yeah.
And do you also agree that part of that responsibility is trying to develop an understanding of your audience? And because, your audience is not a monolith, my audience is not a monolith. There are different kind of like sort of divisions within every audience, right? So you kind of have to get to know your audience and understand how the different sections of your audience are likely to react.
I wonder where he's going with this.
Be familiar with your audience, right? And so, I mean, do you agree with that? I guess I'll ask first.
I don't know if it's a moral obligation, but it's definitely a good idea.
Okay, yeah. Well, here's why I think that I don't know about the word moral, but here's why I think it's important for people, especially doing political activity, like discussing political topics and that sort of thing. I think it's important because obviously we influence our audiences, right? And if you were doing like unboxing streams or just like let's play videos or whatever, I think that the degree of responsibility can vary. But when you're talking about political things, you're influencing people politically, and you also have to know that there will be like mutual impact. So like you might say things and then they'll go out and do things and vice versa.
Oh, I think that's a hint. That's a hint. That's a hint of where we're gonna be in 20 seconds. Just I don't know. He's getting there. He's slowly getting there. So I don't have too much to say about it. Just that we're getting there.
Versa, right? So I guess that's the basis of my next question, which is you must realize that because you debate people on the far right quite a bit, and because of the nature of what you do with your debate streams and that sort of thing, that there are a large number of right-wing people who watch your show.
I don't know if there are a large number of right-wing people who watch my show. There probably is a good number of politically undifferentiated people, but at least in the communities that I've seen and cultivated, my YouTube comments, my Discord, my Reddit, whatever, I think the closest right bent I have is an annoying group of liberals who insist on watching me. Apart from that, I don't think I have many hard right followers.
And I'll just add, as someone who's again been watching Vaush for a couple of years, that I agree with Vaush there, and I don't know where NonCompete got that idea. I mean, he put it out there. Vaush is saying no, but I've done a thing where I've for my own reasons, I was like looking through YouTube comments on Vaush videos and just on YouTube and just scrolling through comments and just seeing what was there and seeing what I could find, and like. I didn't. It's like I wasn't seeing a lot of comments that were indicating someone was a right winger, and when someone did seem to be a right winger, there was like a 90% chance that they disagreed with Vaush and were expressing some like displeasure or issue with them. Some amount of comments from people who say that like, they used to be right wingers, but they've been like moving left or just over the years, or they were once in like the Gamergate alt-right pipeline, but over the past few years, yada yada, like bred to something. Now they're watching Vaush. You get, depending on like what the video was or what the topic was. I've found there are plenty of comments from people like where they're expressing that kind of sentiment, and that's a cool, good thing. It's good when people start having better politics. Never. No time like the present, how I generally take it. And because it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things you gotta just think, like, Vaush is, I guess, we could say Vaush is pretty aggressively, like, left-wing. So if you're a right-wing person, I can imagine a right-wing person, like, hate watching him. Or I can imagine a right-wing person just being like, oh, yeah, let me check out something. Or especially if Vaush is, like, debating a right-winger. Obviously, that video will probably have more views from right-wingers who are, like, coming in, like, opposed to Vaush. But in a general sense, if you're, like, a right-winger, I don't know why the fuck you would, like, want to listen to, like, Vaush talk about Ukraine for, like, half an hour or something, or, like, like Vaush talked to Kyle Kalinske recently for, I think, it was like over an hour. Like, if you're a right winger, I don't know why the fuck you would really want to watch that. That's like, that's explicitly like content that is not appealing to right wing interests there. So let's continue.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to use any like loaded terms like audience or followers or community. I just think that it stands to reason that if you're regularly having discussions with people on the far right, there will be some overlap between your audiences. Some of them are going to come over and like hate watch you. Like I even get hate watchers on my channel, so I know there's an element of that. But yeah, I guess my point is, if you know that there are right wingers. Even if it's in law of large numbers, you have thousands of people that watch your stream. So even if it's like a small percentage of your audience, that's still going to mean there's like maybe hundreds of people, that are fascist or racist watching. That's possible. I don't want to debate about the numbers or whatever, but I guess okay. So
I just want to quickly point out in the chat here. I shall use my mouse, but this person Annie here saying. And then Luna will pretend the hate-watching Groypers are our community. Groypers are people who like Nick Fuentes, who is a Nazi, whose last name is Fuentes, because he's not very smart or good at life. So, but, just spoilers, because I've seen this twice, but Annie here, Annie's right on the fucking money. Hitting the fucking bullseye right here.
I'm going to move on to the next point of my platform here, and then I'll let you just totally respond to my point, because I'm almost done making my point. Mm-hmm. So if you have, if it's true that there are any right wingers watching you, that's one thing. And then another way to know, I guess, a metric of whether you have right wingers or not is how people engage after you've done something, right? So like if I make a video, I'm going to try to gauge the outcomes. I'm going to try to watch what people are saying on social media about it. I'm going to go to Reddit and check that out. I'm going to check the comments on my channel or whatever. And so what I've noticed, and a lot of people have noticed, is a pattern where whenever you talk about somebody who is, shall we say, marginalized, black or trans or person of color or what have you, that there's a tendency for those people to receive a lot of kind of like after effect collateral damage in terms of harassment, threats, and other kinds of disturbing attacks like that. Now, I've seen it happen with Luna because I'm married to her. We spend all of our time together. I monitor, I help her administrate her comments and that sort of thing. And I also know other people who have shown me similar results. So I guess my first question is: are you aware of that, or would you deny that that's something that happens?
I think I'd know.
I got things to say on this, but I want to let just Vaush say whatever. Why don't I just let him say his piece real quick, just to
mostly deny it. There's a whole narrative about my community harassing people, but in spite of nearly 3 years of trying to track down people actually doing this, I've yet to be provided a single piece of evidence of it actually happening. Usually the initial claim is some very severe, Vaush community, harassing, like really bad stuff, right?
And I've heard these things before, just
and it's
being in the community.
Kind of mean, which I'm fine with.
NonCompete is not first to mention this idea.
I guess it's possible that this happens. It's just not something that I've been provided substantive evidence of. If it can be provided, I'll ban those people from my community. But outside of that, I don't think it's I don't think it's that much of an issue.
Okay, so we're going to be back and forthing a bit on this, and this is a topic where I think I do have a lot of things to say, and the topic here, I think it's something that would be well worth its own video, because there's a lot of stuff to examine and get into. So I'm going to just kind of give the quickie rundown of my understanding of things and what I think Vaush's. My understanding of things is kind of a lot in line with Vaush's here, so I'm kind of covering both our ground. But so it's like few ideas we could hit at. So one thing is nature of the internet, nature of just the nature of people make content, and people have accounts that their content is attached to, and people have a brand, and people talk about other people's content, and there's a just natural, obvious human thing there that, like, if a YouTube channel makes a video where they talk about another YouTuber, then that means that the first channel's audience is becoming aware of that person. And, you can definitely have a thing where if you make a video where you're talking very negatively about someone, and you're like expressing that you think they have like bad or like problematic or harmful opinions or behavior, and you're telling your audience that, it's not surprising that some amount of your audience might feel compelled to, either on that same like website or platform or on other websites or platforms to, go and like leave a comment, leave a dislike, maybe argue with some of the other person's like fans in their chat or in their tweets. And, now that's just a natural, just inherent part of, that's just what the internet and communication is going to be. I mean, it's like when an actor gets interviewed on a late night talk show and, they always just happen to have some movie they're working on and they talk about the movie because it's like, that's the give and take there of, the fans of your late night talk show will be like, ooh, Paul Rudd is here. Oh shit, I like Paul Rudd. What's he up to? And then Paul Rudd gets to also be like, hey, I'm going to be in Ant-Man 4, the Spider Queen. Maybe some of y'all go fucking watch it, because I'm Paul Rudd, and I was just so goddamn charming and likable here on Fallon. And that's why they do that. That's why it's like, that's a equally beneficial thing. That's kind of just basic marketing and advertising. And now on the internet, I mean, I guess that's going to happen on any medium, but hey, it's definitely a thing on the internet that, like, if you have a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers and you talk a bunch of shit about like a YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers, then if even 1% of your audience goes and like leaves a comment or something, that 1% of your audience is going to vastly outnumber the other person's entire audience. So, you might see that some of their video, that if there's like a specific video that was being talked about, that video suddenly has like 60% dislikes because 500 people came over from the one person's audience and were like, yeah, I saw the video about how this video fucking sucks. So I'm gonna leave a dislike and I'm gonna write a comment about like, you should do better. Send. So the general thing there, I think, is pretty undeniable. That's just like the mechanics of how attention and interaction with figures that have followings is going to work. The thing that non-compete's getting to, though, and it's a thing where, again, I think this is worthy of its own topic. It's a kind of like argument or something that like I fucking hate. I really fucking hate it. And it sucks because there's a kernel of truth where like there is a thing here that is actually like real and I do like actually care about. But it's like then the actual thing that someone like non-compete makes out of it is like pure fucking bullshit. Which is basically, I'll just put out the idea of this way, where, I don't think I'm necessarily straw manning. Like, I don't think non-compete would like say he agrees with this, but this is like the kind of view I think he's presenting and that I fucking hate. What I think it basically boils down to, and the way I boil this down, you might like see why I fucking hate it. But it's basically, say Vaush is white, and so let's say some white guy with 1,000 subscribers, he makes a video where he says some really, let's say he says some dumb bigoted shit. He says some dumb bigoted shit, and Vaush watches his video, and Vaush is very critical and negative of the video on account of all the dumb bigoted shit being said. Okay. And then some amount of people from Vaush's audience, they go on the video, they leave a dislike, they write a comment. they argue, they clap back with some people. They find the guy's Twitter. They write some shit under one of his tweets. Okay. Non-compete doesn't seem like he has any sort of problem with that. Now then, here's the scenario, and this is what I think is fucking bullshit. Here's the scenario, though, where non-compete's position seems to have an issue. Say it's all that exact same scenario I just described, but the 1,000 subscriber person who made the shitty bigoted video, let's say they're a black woman. Okay, and now I'm a leftist. I care about racism and sexism. I've done a lot of learning, and talking, and listening, and fucking shit in my life where those topics have come up, and I fucking hate bigotry. I am bigoted against bigots. Ugh. But just, shit's stupid, and it's destructive, and it's counterproductive, and it's a fucking rot that kills. It's a poisonous rot that just saps from the society in which it's prevalent in. So I don't fucking, I'm not, I even have black friends. No, but so the thing is, Vaush could do his exact same thing, where he could watch the video by the black woman who has 1,000 subscribers, and it's a shitty, bigoted video expressing shitty viewpoints, and Vaush could say the exact same things he said to the equivalent video from the white guy. But then a thing that'll happen, and I'm not pulling up screenshots or anything right now. I don't want this video to just go on forever, but I've seen it happen. I think we're going to kind of get some of it in a minute here. But people, there's more of like a left-leaning thing. I don't know, within right-wing spaces, I don't know how this necessarily breaks out. I would imagine the dynamics are really fucking different. But people who are apparently left-leaning will like say in that scenario that what you did was wrong because the person is because the person is like a member of a like racial or like gender group that is generally discriminated against more, that makes it wrong to be critical of them. And the vibe that seems to happen is it's like, I'll put it this way, like, here would be my take. It's like, being racist is bad. Like, it's bad to be racist. If the shitty video is, like, by a black woman, you probably, like, your critique, not probably, just, like, your critique of, say this black woman, she's a bigot, right? Just imagine when, hopefully you can conceive of, like, a black woman who's, like, a racist. Like, that hopefully shouldn't be too much of, like, a mind blast to conceive of. Fun thing, being discriminated against doesn't mean that like you're gonna have perfect takes on all other matters of discrimination. If it did, we'd probably have made a lot more progress on this shit. But I mean, gay people can be racist and black people can be homophobic when it's like, damn, friendly fire, dudes, like fucking chill out. But so we've got our hypothetical. We're doing an idealism. Spoilers for later. We got our shitty bigoted video by a black woman where she's being like a shitty bigot. Now, criticizing the bigotry would be like good. Criticize the bigotry. Point out the bigotry. Tie it into your general thing about like why bigotry is wrong, why this is inaccurate, this is harmful, this hurts people and leads to harm. Now, obviously, you shouldn't say anything bigoted or like racist yourself, because in this example, the problem with the person's video is not that they're black or a woman, because we could describe that you could have a video that was exactly as bigoted and fucked up by a straight white guy, by a 50-year-old straight white guy who wears a MAGA hat and sunglasses when he records TikToks in his car complaining about the teens. The problem is with the content, so that's where the focus should be. And I mean, it's like, right. And it's just like, okay, they're a black woman. I mean, like, who cares if they're making a video about how they don't trust the Mexicans who are, they're hopping the border with they're using the sombreros as parachutes when they get launched over in their catapults, right? It's like, the fact that it's a black woman saying it, like, there's things you could go on about that, but it's like the viewpoint is what's fucking shitty. So, you know, I think there's something like Vaush tends to do, and it's something I would do. It's just, it's like, I would critique the shitty view. I'm not going to say something racist or sexist, because it's like, I don't care. I mean, I don't care that they're, like, black or a woman. That's like not even what, you know, say it's them being racist against Mexicans. It's like them being black or a woman, like, doesn't really, like, matter necessarily. It's like their content is problematic. You know, they could be just an AI, like, text-to-speech voice saying the same, like, hateful, problematic shit, and, like, it'd still be wrong. Like, it would still be the same problematic views. And, you know, again, if you were critiquing the video and you were, like, calling them racial slurs or just using whatever, like, racial or sexist, like, epithets or stereotypes, like, all right, that's shitty on your end, because now you're, like, throwing racism at racism, which is, like, kind of, it's the whole, you know, you fight fire with fire, and you can end up with just having a bigger fucking fire, so that's not helpful. But, like, the thing you'll get from people like NonCompete, where it's like it seems like they want to say that doing something like that is racist. That, like, the fact that you're criticizing someone who's, like, a minority in some way is, like, bigoted or wrong on your part, even though your critique had fucking nothing to do with that. Again, just as, like, the illustrative example, if I see a video of a guy grabbing a lady's purse and then running off with it, they're a purse snatcher, and let's say this guy even happens to be a black guy, and I watch the video where this guy steals the lady's purse and runs off. And if I have a reaction to that of, like, oh, what an asshole, fucking piece of shit purse snatcher, to me, I wouldn't consider that racist. That wouldn't be racist in any way. Because if it was a white guy, I would have the exact same feeling. And I know that about myself. I've seen videos of white people being shitty and fucking awful. And my takeaway is always, like, it's not like them being think of, like, Karen videos, right? Like, I'm just, you know, I don't like Karens. I don't like people being, like, shitty to, like, retail workers who are just trying to, you know, do their jobs. And, like, the stereotype of Karens is usually more that they're white. Like it's not like I feel sympathetic to Karens just because, like, oh, she's white like me. What do you mean you're out of stock? Get your manager. I won't. My husband is in the army. Like white skin does not fucking do shit for me there, right? Like, why would it? Why should it? Like, is that how you fucking operate? You know, like, I try, you know, people can have subconscious biases and shit, and, like, it's a problem, but, I mean, sometimes you can feel good about yourself that, like, yeah, my problem with the person is not, like, that they're a race. My problem is the fucking, like, horrible shit they were saying and doing. You know, I'm gonna just say, like, speaking for me, or even with Vaush's channel, it's like, I think most of the people Vaush expresses negativity towards are white. Because some of that's just the demographics of, like, Vaush is, you know, on the left, so he doesn't like right-wingers, and most of the people and, like, the Republican Party in the USA, which is, of the two major parties, the more right-leaning one, it's, like, it's majority white, it's like, disproportionately white, so if you're, like, shitting on Republicans, you're generally gonna be shitting on white people, and, like, a big majority of the Republican, like, politicians who, like, actually get elected and have power and influence are white. And it's like, you know, it's like the fact that Donald Trump was white, like, me personally, it wasn't doing my opinion of him any fucking favors that he happens to be a white boy. Like maybe if anything it's worse, or maybe not really. Maybe he just like fucking sucks. And if Donald Trump happened to be like Moroccan, but was the exact same stupid fucking narcissist, it's like, why do I gotta, right? Why would I ever think that I need to like pull back on calling him like a shitty con man narcissist just because he happens, you know, what, like he's from China, like his grandpa's from China instead of his grandpa being from Europe. So like, now I can't think he's like a shitty con man for something. Like, why the fuck are those related? Right? And it's like, it's not even, because it's not even a thing about like stereotypes. Then again, it's like with the purse snatching examples. Like, there's lots of really bad negative stereotypes about like black people and crime. But it's like, if you have a video of a person who happens to be black and they're like snatching a purse, and me, I'm white, but like my reaction to like seeing the purse get snatched is like, oh, fuck that guy, what an asshole. It's like, that's like not doing the stereotype, right? I just don't think, that's not really, it's like, that's just the fucking thing that happened, right? It's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you want to interrogate people where it's like, you know, maybe this is a thing some people have a struggle with, and I will be the teller of hard truths here, but people who are minorities can also like be shitty, right? It's kind of like a weird, fucked up, like positive racism thing. Otherwise, like you don't think someone can be an asshole because they're black, like that's a, you know, it's a less harmful stereotype probably, but that's just doing like the inverse of racism. Like you're not like actually like solving and moving away from it. You're just like deflecting off, where it's just, you know, the shitty right-wing bigots think all black people are criminals, and then like the weird left-wing thing would be like, no, you can't call this person shitty even if they're being shitty because they're black. And it's like, you know, someone can be a minority and still be like a fucking piece of shit. Like, you know, like again, like I'm a lefty. Do lefties like Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton's a woman. Hillary Clinton also has shit politics and kind of cruddy political instincts, and she lost to Donald Trump. That was a bit of a fucking L for the American people, wasn't it, Hillary? You lost to Trump. It was your job and duty to beat Trump so that his shithead itself wouldn't be president, and you fucking lost. I don't care that Hillary's a fucking woman. I care that she sucks. And she lost, and she fucked things up, and she's a waste of time and money with all of her general shittiness and uselessness. You know, make Hillary Clinton a man. Like what? Okay, Bill Clinton? I don't fucking like Bill Clinton either. Him being a man ain't fucking doing him any favors in my eyes. Make Bernie Sanders a woman. They would be just as based and cool and good with their politics then. Like, that's not the thing that's fucking relevant. And I'm getting a little warm, so I'm gonna open up the sweater. I like this sweater, but I don't wanna sweat. So oh geez, I know I've been going for a bit here with the video pause, so I'm happy I'm kind of making up for first few minutes here. I didn't have much to say about the actual video, but just like, it's gonna come to this, and it's one of those things where it's like, unless Vaush's criticism of Luna is like stuff that actually like is reflective of or like perpetuating like sexism or racism, it's like, if Vaush says that he thinks Luna has shit politics, it's like, that's not a race or a sex thing. That's him saying that the other person's politics are shit. Politics is not someone's race or sexuality. You know, it's like, if Vaush said something like, oh, well, of course she has shit politics. She's Vietnamese. You know how they are. Like, that'd be like fucking like, whoa, hang on, like, where the fuck did that come from? Right? But if it's just, yeah, these are like my own fucking, please, finger quotes. Please don't edit the finger quotes out of the Twitch clip cut here for Twitter. But it's like, you know, if you say a criticism that's something like, I guess they teach really weird, dumb shit in Vietnam. Maybe that's why Luna sounds like she has such bad takes, because of her education in Vietnam. It's like, to me, that's not racist. Yeah, you could jump, you could be getting to racism, but like that on its own, it's like, well, she is Vietnamese. She did go to school in Vietnam. Her political views in some way, to some extent, seem to be like a reflection of how she was educated by like the Vietnamese government and school system in Vietnam, because that's the country she's from. So like, it's like even that would be like, you know, hey, you can mention something about the person's race or sex or whatever and have it not be racist or sexist. It like has to be actually relevant, which can be a bit of a subjective thing. But it's like there's certain obvious things where it's like, you know, at least in the USA, I think there's a trend of like women are more concerned about political issues affecting women's reproductive health. And that's just like, that's not a surprise. Yeah. If you're a woman, you're probably going to think about women's reproductive health at some point. Because that shit's you. So then you're more likely to think about political issues surrounding it. If you're a guy, it is theoretically possible to not think about women's reproductive health or how politics could be affecting or playing a role in it. Because if you don't think about it, it's also not gonna happen to you. So it's like, okay, hey, fine, like that's just a reasonable, like, yeah, it's an understandable inference. Yeah, Luna's from Vietnam, and she went to school in Vietnam. Maybe in some ways she is biased towards Vietnam. That's not a racism thing, because that's just like, I could and would say that about every country. I'm American. So many people in America think we're the greatest country in the world, when we kind of fuck up a lot constantly, literally all the time. We're like, it's like, it's like, you know, like I see that from people who are American. I'm fucking American. I see billions and millions of my fellow countrymen who they don't want to ever improve or change anything because they're convinced that this is already like the best things could possibly be, because we're America and my country, right or wrong, I will never apologize. And it's like, fucking hell, that shit, I hate that fucking shit. Some countries are like worse about that than others, you know. I think America's kind of fucking bad about that. I'm willing to bet like China's probably kind of fucking bad about that, given how like authoritarian and like heavy-handed their government is. They probably stress a lot of love China. China's so great. Aren't you so happy to be a Chinese person in China? Like living in China, it's so fucking good and great here. And like that shit's gonna catch in. It's gonna have effects. That's gonna affect some amount of people some amount of the way, and it's gonna fucking matter at some point. You know, same with the US, and like it could be the same with China. And it's like, that's not a racist thing to bring up, because I don't think I'm being racist against Americans when I point out that like one of the barriers to political change in the USA is that a lot of Americans are convinced that there's like nothing to learn from other countries, that because we're the best country in the world, they don't ever need to examine what another country might be doing, and we never need to like make a change to improve because America, fuck yeah, America, fuck yeah. And that's real shit. That's a real like indoctrinated brain rot that I see in millions of my fellow countrymen, and it breaks my fucking heart. And I don't think I'm racist against Americans because I've noticed that. That's just like true shit. You know, I want that to not be true as much as anybody does, because I fucking live here too. So, I've been paused on this for a bit. I think it. Oh god, that's why I said this could be a whole damn video on its own. But just yeah, I'll let them speak because they're gonna go on about this. I think for at least a couple minutes. So I'll remember what I want to chime in with when we get there.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, I guess I'm not going to press it too much farther. I will say that like this is the kind of thing that it's kind of hard to
substantiate,
litigate, and substantiate, right? Because like, so for instance, I can just tell you from my personal experience that, you know, since I literally look at Luna's comments every single day on her YouTube channel, I kind of get an idea. Like she does get racist comments.
Smoke
every day,
weed.
you know, and you know that that's probably true.
Come at me, feds.
Just because any person of color, black person on the internet that's putting themselves out there and talking about politics is going to receive that kind of thing. So she
Schedule 1 drugs here.
But every time you've done a video where you talked about her, suddenly there's like a big uptick in the number of those kinds of racists and just terrible kinds of disturbing comments. And the only other time I've ever seen that happen, it's only happened twice before, and once was after we had the discussion with Destiny, and once was after the armchair historian and her had a little bit of a back and forth. And it's never ever happened again. Lots of other people have criticized Luna, but those are the only 3 examples. And so something tells me it's just here. I guess let me put it this way: my instinct is there's something going on there, and if you think that matters, I would encourage you to take it seriously and investigate it more on your own and see if you can find out more, and just keep that in the back of your mind, I guess, as you move forward when you talk about people who are.
Okay, I'm just gonna try to make this a quick pause, but let's note that I think this would be fair to say. You know, if you disagree, argue with me. Fuck, I think it's fair to say I'm open to alternatives, but non-compete is not giving Vaush a lot to work with here. And now, again, hey, it's kind of a hard, you know, it's like they said. I mean, I agree with it. It's kind of a hard thing to prove because just someone leaves you a comment telling you to, you know, Roblox yourself, and it's like. Who the fuck? You know, how the fuck are you supposed to know who the fuck that is? I mean, you know, you could look at their account and like try to investigate, but like, what if you look at their account and it's like they're subscribed to like 3 other YouTube channels, and it's like there's not, and you know, and their profile picture is just like the default template thing where it's just like a letter, the first letter of their name on a color, and it's like. You know, this could be a 13-year-old who's just trolling and being a dick on the internet for forte lulz, because teenagers are dumbasses and like to push boundaries and get reactions from people and find where lines are. So it's like, you know, I grant that it's like a hard thing to prove, but there's also, it's like, let's say from like non-compete's end, it's like, what does he want Vaush to say from all this? I'll let it play out in a sec then, because, you know, the forewarning, again, spoilers. I don't know. I keep saying the term spoilers just to represent me commenting on things that haven't quite happened yet, because I've seen this twice already. I don't know if that's like... I don't know of a better term for it. That's just why I'm saying it. But Vaush is going to pretty much just say no. And he's going to give his reasons why, and his reasoning boils down to, I've looked into this issue, and I, like, really don't find anything there. So I can't fucking do anything about this if I look into it and I don't, like, find anything actionable. Like, I've got nothing to work with, so I don't know what you want me to even do. Which I think is a pretty fair and, like, reasonable thing, you know, if you call the fire department out to an address and nothing's on fire, and they look and they're not finding anything on fire, it's like, well, at a certain point, they got to go back to the station. Like, at a certain point, you can't, if they don't find it, then there's nothing to do. So, let's see what gets said.
Vulnerable. Now, Luna and I are in our 30s, and we have each other, and we're stable. But
30s, ew, gross. How old?
I know
I'm not in my
you're aware
30s.
that there
I'm
are
young.
people out there who are more vulnerable. There are people who are younger. There are people who have mental instability and might be inclined towards self-harm and that sort of thing. So I guess I'm just saying.
Wait, okay, hang on. Fuck, I'm gonna roll by that 10 seconds. I don't know if you just said something.
There who are more vulnerable. There are people who are younger. There are people who have mental instability and might be inclined towards self-harm and that sort of thing. So I guess I'm just saying, from one big content creator to the other, it's something that I do, is try to be careful about how I cultivate my audience. I try to identify the strengths and strengthen those, and I try to identify weaknesses and negate those as much as possible over time. So I'm not trying to preach at you, but that's something I wanted to make you aware of, that's something that I've seen happening personally with Luna's audience. So
I saw that. I saw that.
Do better, Vaush. Do better. Somehow, some way, do better. Okay, I'll let Vaush talk in a sec, but yeah, you know, fuck.
That tweet from Luna where
I could
she
say a lot of things.
screenshotted some groypers quote tweeting her and said that they were.
And again, just for anyone who doesn't know, groypers are people who like Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes is a Nazi. Don't let his last name being Fuentes fool you. He identifies as having a white soul. I don't fucking know. He's a weird fucking retard. But just, it's like, obviously, I'll say, as someone who's been in Vaush's community for a while, people who like Nick Fuentes, the groypers, not fans of Vaush. Really, really not fans of Vaush. Because why would he be? He's a queer leftist who's really good at arguing and is really good at making them look stupid, or not even making them. Just he's really good at revealing the groypers for the dumb, stunted, intellectual miscreants that they are. So, like, if Luna always getting hate from groypers, I don't know what the fuck that has to do with Vaush. If groypers listened to Vaush, they wouldn't be fucking groypers. Like, right? Yeah.
Sort of insinuated that was a product of her mentioning or talking with me. I mean, I'm a large content creator. There are people who hate watch me. I also have... oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting some feedback from your end when I talk.
Start? Or
no, gain pitch, kind of.
Get past the audio issues.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry about
I saw those screenshots.
And hell, you know, just because a lot of things, with political content, I don't put the greatest emphasis on originality, so I am happy. I am just happy to say if I see something in the Twitch chat here, or wow, not the Twitch chat, the fucking VGG chat. It's Vaush's like personal, not YouTube chat that shows up on stream. But it's just like, let's look at what Mongolian beef, which is a delicious dish. Yeah. Literally, what the fuck is he supposed to do other than ban people from his channel's chat / Discord? It is literally impossible to manage / mitigate randos on the internet. This is a point that has literally no endpoint other than I'll tell my community not to be shit, and if members are, they are banned. Which is what Vaush says. He said it earlier. I've heard him say it plenty of times before, that like, yeah, if you're going around like telling people to kill themselves, and you're doing it on like an account that's like the username you use in like Vaush's Discord or something, he says he'll ban for that. He says he'll ban if he gets like screenshots or, you know, links and evidence of someone like being shitty that way, and or like, you know, being racist or bigoted or something. And I believe him. I don't know why he wouldn't ban those people, right? It's not like it costs him anything to ban shitheads, right? It's fucking just cleaning house there.
well, people are saying my voice is too loud in your stream. I don't know if that...
Probably just both problems simultaneously, I think. So.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, obviously, as a product of my size, beefing with me is going to cause a lot of engagement, and there might be negative consequences to that for, like, marginalized people, because I'm broadly known on the right I don't know if there's a way to directly attribute that to me. I know they're not my audience. I don't think I have a substantial Groyper audience at my beck and call. I just don't know if there's anything I can really do about that. Because at that point, it's not even about my community. It's just about the size of my channel and exposure given to people that I disagree with. And we're working off tenuous connections as well. I mean, it could very well be that even if I was perfectly responsible with all my engagement, merely the act of being signal boosted to the level that one is when they engage with me would then increase the likelihood of that kind of negative attention. It feels like the link here is tenuous enough that I don't have a direct control over it, or really even an indirect control. The only solution would be, I think, to just not ever engage with, positively or negatively, any other figures who are
And there's a lot what I was saying.
which
I agree with Vaush here. Wow.
Doesn't seem like a sustainable
Shock surprise, but
solution,
like,
I think.
I mean, I do.
Well, okay, there are a few.
He's making sense to me. That this boy's spitting facts as far as I can tell. It's like, because yeah, what is he supposed to do? Right, it gets to a thing where it's like, is the implication just that? Because you gotta substantiate. There has to be some. There's got to be some substance to the accusation, right? Because if you're gonna say that, well, I think the way you engage in your content would ferment people like being racist or bigoted or something towards the person you are critiquing. You got to do more than just say that. Because as someone who watches Vaush's content, right, I don't know where a Vaush viewer, someone who's like presumably, agreeing and vibing with Vaush to some extent, I don't know where the fuck they would get the idea to like be bigoted towards someone he's disagreeing with from. I can just just numerous examples or something. It's like there's a trans woman, Blair White, who has a bunch of shitty political opinions. And Vaush has made videos and content discussing and critiquing her shitty political opinions. And, Vaush is a supporter of trans rights. He's never said anything like a transphobic about her. And I think he's pretty much explicitly stated, or like when the topic has come up, that like, yeah, hey, don't. It would be very insulting to Blair White to misgender her, but like, don't do that, because the misgendering is harmful to trans people in a general sense, which I'm not gonna like elaborate on here because that's not the point of this, but it's like, it's like the problem with Blair White is it's not that she's trans, it's that she has shitty right-wing conservative political opinions. Like, that's the problem. Blair being trans isn't really like, that's not the thing to critique. And again, it's the whole, if you're trans, it's like the whole, if you can misgender someone because you disagree with them, then that's right. That's like, as a leftist, I don't want to promote that, right? So it's the whole like, calling a black person the N-word is also like going to be harmful to them. But like, even if I thought a black person was being a piece of shit for my own broader aims of making a better society, I might call them out on being a piece of shit, but I don't need to like throw a racial slur their way because then that's encouraging racial slur use. Like, I'm trying to encourage like, give shit or give pushback to bad actors or people who are expressing like harmful political beliefs. Like, I want to encourage that. If you're being racist on top of it, then that's like a real, for what I want, that would be a real muddling of the message. So like, Candace Owens or something. Candace Owens is a black woman. And in terms of like the issues or politics or things she discusses, like, it could be relevant to discuss like the fact that she is black or a woman, like that could like be relevant to a topic in some way. But like, you don't need to actually like being bigoted about it. It's like if Candace Owens was a black man, it's not like the opinions the shitty opinions they have would be any better. So like, why even engage with that? You know, what state is Candace Owens from? Like, don't know, don't care, don't really see how it matters. Like, I don't. Oh, she's from a state. That's where all the cousin fucking hillbillies are from. It's like, is that like really like, is that the problem, right? Like, no, that's not what the actual fucking problem is. So why let yourself like get distracted on a bigoted tangent when you could just stick to the actual points, which are way stronger, and it reflects a lot better on you if you don't get distracted by like dumb, vulgar, bigoted shit. So
few things there, I guess I'll push back a little bit against. So the first thing would be, you know, every time there are some things you can do. Every time I talk about somebody who I disagree with, who could be receiving that kind of, you know, hate, like, I'm very careful to tell my audience, like, do not harass this person, blah, blah, blah. That will help with your actual audience, your community, the people that you actually like, enjoy. But then also you just,
and I'll just quickly say I've seen Vaush say a similar thing, and just the general vein of that, of like, hey, don't like go after this person. Don't, just because even if they're a piece of shit, I'm talking about them, don't like go don't dislike or report every like video on their channel or something because of it, because just like that shit's cringe, and it ends up, you know, it's like, even just being like purely selfish, it's like that kind of behavior kind of reflects more negatively on the community engaging it. So it's like, it ends up, it's like, it's not even worth it, because it's like, you know, you can mass report every video the person makes, and that might cause some problems for them, but then you're like becoming the community that does that kind of shit, and that's like more counterproductive to your goal. It's like how road rage is kind of like road rage, you know, when people are driving and they get mad. It's stupid, and it's like, you could even just think of it where, just from a purely like selfish psychopath perspective, if you're trying to like get to your destination fast, and then you like get road raged out because someone cut you off or like whatever the fuck, and then you pull over and get out of your car and like try to get in a fist fight with this other driver. It's like, I thought you were trying to get somewhere fast. You're not even in a fucking car now. Like, it's like, what? It's like, you know, it's like confused behavior on the person's end. It's like totally counterproductive. Even if you were just an asshole who didn't give a shit about other people, it's like, if your actual goal was to get somewhere faster, then having a road rage incident and like getting out of your car, like, I'm gonna follow this person. Fuck where I was going. I'm so mad. I need to follow this person for the justice of avenging my road rage. And it's just like, it's dumb. Just like the most basic reason I could recommend to not do it is that it's just fucking dumb and counterproductive. Never mind all the negative effects it can have on, you know, other people who exist and are real and I think matter. It's just like, even for yourself, it's fucking stupid and counterproductive.
I don't know. I just, I think you could be more selective about some of the things that you say about certain people, because there have been instances, like with, for instance, when you talked about Luna, I don't think that calling her a useless stepchild of Vietnam, I think that might fan the flames of like racial problems. I'm not saying that you were intentionally being racist. That's not the point there. But I think that having that kind of super vitriolic statement could perhaps fan the flames. I think maybe when talking about people in marginalized positions, you could perhaps just stick to the facts and to the ideas more, instead of bringing up the personal vitriolic remarks like that, calling them stupid, using ableist slurs and that sort of thing. I think that might be one way you could kind of control some of that. Do you like completely disown and denounce the people who have made racial comments about Luna since you made your stream about her?
Oh, anyway.
Okay. We're gonna take a break for a minute here. Unofficial break. I need to go to the bathroom. Restock. Okay, I'm back. Got the mics. And since I'm trying to just do this all in one go, and I've done a fucking terrible job of scheduling my meals out today, I'm gonna just try to quickly, quietly use this little snack bar because I have a ravenous pit in my stomach, and that is gonna make it worse at talking. I think I have a mute button. Oh, I actually thought I don't want to be boring. I got out of the noisy wrapper. I'm gonna let it try to roll a little. Just eat quick.
Anyone who makes racist comments towards Luna is either not a part of my community, or if they are, should be removed from it. I'm not a racist, and I don't tolerate racism on any of my platforms. If it really is like hate followers who are watching or simply responding to an increase in visibility, though, nothing I say will change anything. I mean, I could have a positive interaction. In fact, I know this because I have had positive engagements with people, marginalized people, either race, gender, sexuality, who then got harassment after talking with me, not just from the rest of the left for deigning to talk with me, of course, but just as a product of being made visible, you know? So if that is the group responsible predominantly for the real vitriol, I don't think there's anything I could do other than be silent. In terms of like harassment from my community, like the tone that I set.
Again, I think what Vaush said there was very reasonable, right? I mean, it's the internet. If they're racist bigots, then, like, they're clearly not doing a great job of listening to Vaush in the first place. And it's the internet. All you can do is talk and or ban them from communities that he's, like, a moderator on, so his Discord. But it's like, that's it. Otherwise, it's the fucking internet. It's a bit of it's kind of a bit of a Wild West environment out there. It's the Grand Line on One Piece. Just sometimes you're clicking around and there's just some motherfucker with 50 million subs who you have never in your life heard of, and you're just hearing about how they like fuck dogs or something, and it's just like. It's like for me whenever there's drama in the makeup community, and it's like I had some point a few years ago where I heard about drama in the makeup community, and I was like, "Fuck's the makeup community?" Because if you can't tell, I don't know shit about makeup. And then it's like I looked and I was like, "Oh, there are makeup channels with millions, tens of millions of subscribers." Like. Okay. Like that's just some. What if some makeup channel with 27 million subs writes a tweet about how Vaush sucks, and then it's like that's just a thing that can happen. It's all those things where it's like what is any individual supposed to do about that? That's just things that can happen in this space. It's like it can suck to be on the receiving end of it, but it's like I don't. If you're on a safari and you like hop out of the Jeep and just go walking off into the plains, and then a lion attacks you, it's like, what are the wardens of the safari supposed to fucking do about that? Like, if you run off, there are lions and they could kill you. Like, it's like literally, what are they supposed to do about that? Like, that's just the fucking thing that can happen here. If you go swimming in the ocean, a shark could bite you. Because there are sharks in the ocean, and sharks don't really follow directions all that much from humans, so they just kind of, do their own thing. And then it's, about intentions here, where I think you could kind of see, okay, my fiance's home. Hi, baby.
Hi.
Do you have a good time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm still, oh god, I have no idea how. I'm saying like EFAP style pace with this. I'm hoping I will like speed up as we go.
Okay.
Though, oh god, we haven't even gotten to like hypotheticals and idealism and shit.
Oh no.
So we'll fucking see. I might end up just having to like break this off into a two-parter because I don't know. It's 9 p.m. on my end. I might just end up getting too hungry, but for the time being, I love you. But I'm gonna at least do this for like another hour or something. We'll get to where we get to. If I don't finish it tonight, I say to you, all the 0 people watching this right now, because I have no subs, I think I'll try to finish this tomorrow. I don't want to have like a big gap or anything if I do break this off in an hour. As I was saying, I think you can kind of see, and I'll even rewind it. If you look at Non-Compete's face, I think you can see some like discomfort or awkwardness on his face, and yeah, it's a chance where I get to say this kind of thing, where it's one of those things where I don't think I'm an unreasonable dickhead. I don't expect perfection from people. I'm not judging him for like, we're going to see the discomfort on his face. I'm not judging him for the discomfort. I think the discomfort makes sense because I think it seems like he wants this like kind of like either apology or admission of like fault. He's trying to get that from Vaush, and Vaush is like very, very strongly like, I don't want to say he's like not entertaining it because it's like what Non-Compete's running into is that Vaush has like had this conversation a lot of times before, so he's done plenty of like thinking about it and talking about it on his own end already. So it's like Non-Compete is kind of like tepidly like coming up to the plate, and he's winding up and he's sending his ball down. But like Vaush is like kind of experienced and ready for it, so when the ball does come down, he just smacks it right the fuck back and doesn't give a shit because this ain't shit for Vaush. Which then it's like, okay, then that makes like Non-Compete's thing a bit awkward because one, there's the just general like I'd say lack of strength of his position. Wow, I raised both my hands to do finger quotes with one of them, but there's a tenuousness in his position, which is then like going to kind of crumble in the face of Vaush being very like kind of stalwart about it. Like just Vaush is ready to like answer. Just you could. It's like you could just. It kind of feels like you could just randomly just stop Vaush in the store and just ask him these questions. Just be like, Vaush, do you think that your coverage of creators who are holders of minority characteristics is leading to racism and bigotry being more heavily directed at those creators? And like he's fucking ready. He's ready to say all the stuff he's saying right now because he's thought about it already. He's prepared. This ain't his first rodeo. So Non-Compete, again, it's the thing where it's like I'm not judging him for like having a bit of discomfort on that because that makes sense. That it would be discomforting to like be kind of running into this wall that Vaush is putting up, and I say wall in like a figurative sense of Non-Compete running into a wall, not in like some douchey sense of like Vaush is putting up a wall and not listening. It's like the it's like the Dark Souls meme video where it's like the wall. Oh, wall's gonna fall on your crew and break you all. Like Vaush is being a wall like that, and obviously that's uncomfortable to run up against. You don't want to run into the wall. It's gonna fall on your crew and break you all. So letting it go here. Let's just look at like Non-Compete because I rewound 15 seconds.
Product of being made visible, So if that is the group responsible predominantly for the real vitriol, I don't think there's anything I could do other than be silent. In terms of like harassment from my community, like the tone that I set, I'm okay with it. I'm generally quite mean to conservatives or people that I don't like.
Look, I think we saw a little bit of it. We saw the bit of like, I think it's a face that says, like, this isn't what I wanted, what do I do now? Which, again, I'm pointing these things out. I'm not critiquing Non-Compete for, like, showing that, or for feeling that. because it's the kind of thing I don't expect perfection, and just as a lefty, right, I try to be understanding of like systemic causes and stuff. I think it's very reasonable for a person in non-compete's position right now to be feeling or reacting the way he is. It's, you know, it's like, you know, he's putting forth his point, and Vaush is like shutting it down like pretty like affirmatively. Obviously, that's not gonna be fun for the person bringing up the point. So it's not a moral criticism of non-compete to like notice that he's having to grapple with the shit here, right? It's like in an anime fight where the person like does their, you know, they do their special technique and on you know the bad guy, and then the bad guy just like catches in his hand like effortlessly and is like, huh, is that what you're doing? And like, you know, fucking tosses him aside, and then the character's like, oh, he got my technique. What do I do? And it's like, yeah, what do you do then? Shit, that sucks. That sucks for you. If you're the character we're rooting for, that sucks. If you're watching Mob Psycho, it's usually Mob doing that to everyone else, and it's really funny because he just no-sells everybody on their attacks because he's better than them. And he's the protagonist, so cool. Did I mention I have ADD? I was watching Mob Psycho clips today. Oh, that's a good show. There's going to be a season 3. But, I'm going to rewind 10 seconds here because Vaush is saying some more stuff, so I want to let him get through that. I'm going to crack this open. Not too noisy, but I'm going to let Vaush say his little piece here.
Violent. In terms of like harassment from my community, like the tone that I set, I'm okay with it. I'm generally quite mean to conservatives or people that I don't like. I think that's okay.
True.
I think that
that is true. It's something I like about
an
Vaush.
essential component.
Well, okay, you don't think that when you said that Luna's a useless stepchild of Vietnam, that could, even if you didn't intend for it to have racial undertones, right? Because intention here doesn't matter. I think you'd agree with me. It's the outcomes that matter. You don't think that that's the...
Okay, so I'm going to pause. So I think non-compete is saying there's a general sense where I think I can agree with that like, even if your intentions were good, if there were harmful effects or causes, like it's probably a good thing to like own up for that and, you know, like account for that and learn from it, because you intended good and ended up doing bad. If you really care, if you really intended to do good, then you should like, you know, take that in so that you can actually end up doing good. But then, right, we got to think, zoom out, take a step back of the link here is really tenuous, right? We don't, it's, you know, I'm bringing in like a little bit of the outside context, or if you're looking at the Vaush chat at all, which, you know, hey, plenty of fine people in there. There might even be comments from my username in there. I think there probably are, because when I was watching this live, I probably was saying some stuff in chat at some point. I haven't seen any of my own comments yet. Don't expect anything brilliant from them. It's probably just me saying short, quippy things because it's a fucking live stream like chat scroll. I'm not gonna be one of those people who writes like a fucking 6-inch actually when Vaush says he hates pizza or whatever. I'm not. Yeah, you gotta know the medium you're in. But yeah, I'm sunlocking myself. Shit. Hey, first time though. More than an hour and a half before I got stopped up. But it's so if you've seen where people are talking, you got to give a little bit further context. It seems like the like worst the comments that Luna was receiving that were like the most objection the you know comments that were not okay, that were like being really like bigoted or harassing in some way. Yeah, it seems like there's like really not any indication that those people were Vaush fans. And I mean, shit's up on Twitter or whatnot, right? Like you could go on Twitter, find Luna's Twitter, scroll through her shit, look at it and click on comments and see what accounts are there, and there's going to be some amount of like, this account has been deleted, this account no longer exists, so you might It's the unfortunate thing about Twitter. It's not a perfect archive. But it seems like the general trend, at least, the reporting from Vaush and the Vaush community on the issue is that the people who are being, like, the people who are acting in a objectionable way do not seem to be people who are into Vaush in any way. And people keep mentioning groypers. And it's like, okay, yeah, if there's a comment saying some horrible racist stuff at Luna, and I don't doubt that Luna gets, like, racist comments. Like, she's a Vietnamese woman on the internet who makes content. Yeah, people are going to be racist and sexist towards her. That shit sucks. I hate that shit is the way it is. I'll say I'm on Twitter, and I am fiery and snappy at people, and I occasionally get, like, some small amount of shit from someone for, like, being white or whatever. I mostly find it fucking funny when it happens, but it's like I know that, like, if you're a woman, you will just get dudes who are like fucking psychos. Like, that's just a thing that can and does happen, where, and you can block those guys and move on, but it's one of those things where I've never had a DM from some, like, psycho woman talking about how, like, the male species is a degenerate plague that is abusing women and should be forced onto fucking sperm collection farms because the one useful thing we're good for is sharing some, whatever fucking, like, crazy, like, ultra misandrous, like, thing that would be. Like, I never get those messages, even though on Twitter I'm using the name of this YouTube channel and I have one of my videos pinned and I use my webcam, so it's like it's not my profile picture, but it's like if you look at my profile for 20 seconds, it's pretty easy to figure out that, like, I'm a fucking white dude. And, like, I barely get shit for it. So I know that, like, I'm sure if you look at Luna tweets, you'll it's not going to be like all of them are omnipresent, because people who are shitty bigots are probably not, they have bigger fish to fry than some lady who makes YouTube videos mostly. But, like, I'm sure you can find people being fucking weird, shitty, sexist, like, assholes. Like, I don't doubt that at all, right? I don't know, I'm getting repetitive, but it's one of those things where, like, I don't doubt that Luna's received racist and bigoted comments, and, like, that shit sucks. I wish that didn't happen, and I wish you didn't have to deal with that. Especially when apparently her political views are kind of shit, so you could just, talk about the thing that's actually fucking important. It's just that me thing where I don't... Why distract yourself with the vulgar distraction of bigotry when you could, like, actually have some fucking substance to your life and, like, actually be a real motherfucker for, shit. Shit, fuck, contest, dick. I'm super smart, yo. But,
kind of thing that can stoke racially charged responses from people.
Okay, yeah. So non-compete. His one receipt he's coming with is something Vaush said in the video where he was watching Luna Oi's video, where I guess it's he called Luna a bastard stepchild of Vietnam, and Vaush is going to talk. They're going to talk about that, so I'll let them get to that. But I want to just bring back up the thing I was saying before, where it's like, it is possible to mention someone's, like, race or, like, racial background and have it not be racist. Like, it can just be a relevant fact, right? Like, if we want to say, right, like, I hope even people who, like, fucking hate my guts or something while they're watching this, something we agree on is that, like, the fact that Luna is a Vietnamese person is probably a major contributing factor to her receiving anti-Vietnamese bigotry and racism, right? Again, just one of those things where I don't think I've ever seen someone say something that was bigoted against Vietnamese people to Vaush, because Vaush isn't fucking Vietnamese. So that would just be kind of weird and confusing. It's yeah, as a guy, I'll say I've had the experience where I've seen some like screenshot. Yeah, I've just seen like a screenshot of someone who was like an actual like fucking psycho misandrist who like really like fucking hated men. And it like, and I just saw like a screenshot of like terrible shit they were saying on some website in their just deranged way about like, it was some like, if I had a son, if I knew I was pregnant with a boy, I would get an abortion because men. And it's like, okay, wow, fucking Jesus. And it's like, I read that stuff and I was like I felt uncomfortable, you know. And I had like a nice big empathy boost for the women, where it was like, you know, I already like logically I could have the empathy for the women that like, yeah, reading, you know, seeing stuff that's sexist against women when you're a woman, like that would I'd expect that would be kind of shitty. But I had that like just gut punch moment once, so like I was just reading some serious misandry and I was just like, fuck this lady, fuck. Like the way I like climbed myself out of it is I was just like, you know, this lady is nobody. She's not, because she wasn't anyone important. She wasn't a fucking mayor or a principal or a politician, right? She was just some fucking crazy bitch on the internet, right? She didn't really, you know, she's not going around like stabbing men or something, like, even, and she's not like turning down men for promotions at the company she's a CEO of, because she's just some fucking nobody. And like that helped me feel a bit like, okay, cool, like I don't gotta worry, why let myself like imagine all the ways I'm hurt from this when I want to move on, cool. But it was like, that was like one time I had to see that, and it was still like just reading the just rampant misandry and just blind sheer hatred towards men. It was like, it was uncomfortable. As a man, like that shit kind of sucked. Like it's like, as a man, I wouldn't want to do that. You know, if you had like 100 more images of people saying horrible misandrous stuff like that, it was like, you're gonna have to pay me some money to read that, because like that's gonna put me in a bad mood. Like that's gonna be some like kind of painful. You know, it's like, you ever have the feeling where you've seen like a video of like police brutality? That's like another hotspot for me, where just anytime I see a video like police brutality, I have like an extreme amount of empathy for the person who's being brutalized. So it's like, if I just sat down and like watched enough videos of police brutality, like I'm gonna just start like fucking crying, because like I don't like it. It's upsetting. So like, yeah, just I have a sympathy there that like, yeah, that shit isn't fun to deal with, and it's a problem, and it's why there's like certain things where there's like lopsided like gender balance. I'm into video games. I'm a real big video gamer, and I know there's, you know, it's gotten a lot better, but there's historically an issue of like sexism among gamers, and it's like, yeah, plenty of women. You know, how many times, you know, no one knows the exact numbers, no one but the non-existent God, but it's like, how many times has a woman tried to get into video games, experienced a bunch of like just gross fucking sexism and shit when they did, and then they stopped because it was like, well, I don't want to fucking deal with this, I'll go read a book. No one tells me to go in the kitchen and make them a sandwich when I read a book. Like, I can, Jesus, you know? Yeah, people being an asshole to you is like generally something that's going to make people less likely to do something. It's something you can weaponize against shitty people. You know, Richard Spencer, notorious Nazi, famous for getting punched in the face on camera. I know there's something from him where just some, you know, conversation among the Nazis where, yeah, they put that shit on the internet sometimes, so you can sometimes find some real great gems, because they're fucking idiots, and they don't know the exact ways to hide their shittiness because, well, they don't realize how shitty they are. That's why they are. But it's like, the point I'm getting is that like Richard Spencer has himself said that the fear or threat of like getting physically assaulted at live events or at like public events made him not want to do them. He cut down on public events because there's a trade-off where it's like, and you gotta think, right? It makes sense. If you're thinking to yourself, if I do a public event, someone's gonna try to fucking sucker punch me. Like there's getting sucker punched is bad, right? You could be Mahatma Gandhi, but like, if Gandhi got the shit beat out of him every time he protested, like, he might have stopped. There's reasons that didn't happen, and there's like ways to avoid that, and not being like a bigoted piece of shit, and like having an actual point morally behind what you're saying, like Gandhi did, and like Richard Spencer doesn't, help. But it's like these, there are real repercussions that can come and be inflicted upon you from other people, and these things, they are, as much as you can, potentially ignore them and try to get through them. It's just the fact that, like, they are a road bump. Right? They're at minimum a road bump, and you can be in your car, and you can drive over a road bump, and, it's possible that you can just not even slow down, you can just fucking bounce right off that fucker going 30. But I've also been on roads where there was a speed bump. Sorry, I said road bump. I've been on like little like side streets or something where there was a speed bump every 20 feet. So it's like 5 speed bumps in a row. And I'd slow down to a crawl on those because going over the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th speed bump kind of fucking hurts. If you don't slow down, it's like, you can fucking bounce through one speed bump, but then like the second one, it's kind of like, I'm gonna slow down. This kind of fucking sucks. I'm not that committed to going fast, it turns out. If every time I go fast over the speed bump, it fucking jerks me around in my shitty car, maybe I might just slow down for my own sake. It's reason people don't pick fights because they don't want to get punched in the face, because getting punched in the face is not fun. There's a thing going on there. I'm gonna hit play.
Or
sure,
encourage.
You can get that from criticizing China too, right? Like, I hate China, but if you talk about that long enough, folks who are actually racist are going to catch on.
You can
There's only
talk
so
about
much
how
you
you
can do
hate
about
China
that.
without calling somebody a useless stepchild of China, for instance.
Well,
I mean, like,
if
that's
they
a
were
weird
if they were a
thing to say about someone.
Chinese
What does that even
nationalist,
mean, a useless stepchild of Vietnam? I don't really understand what you were trying to say there.
Okay, so on to the thing about intentions and all the stuff about, fuck, I will not apologize for going off on tangents, because all my tangents are like sparkling platinum, mithril. They're beautiful. They're a gift from the goddess, and we should be thankful for them. I am. Onto this topic, though. It's so the comment evidently from Vaush. I'm sure. Again, I haven't actually seen that video. And I think Vaush is going to say something to it, that Vaush made a lot of comments. So picking out just one, it's like, it's going to come up, but his reaction is kind of like, I guess I did say that. I don't fucking remember. Which to me, I'm biased towards Vaush, but like, I get it. I've been recording for close to 2 hours now. I don't remember every fucking word I've said. Why would I? That's not a thing. It's not a thing people do. Be normal, But, so apparently Vaush said, useless stepchild of Vietnam. And that's one of those things where just, I'm analyzing it, I'm looking at it quickly. I remember just when he said that, my first thought was, unironically, I'm preparing to get canceled. But when NonCompete said that Vaush had said that about Luna, my first thought genuinely was, isn't she from Vietnam though? Like it's not really from out of left field to mention that a Vietnamese person is Vietnamese, right? Right? Like it's true though. So, and then we get into, we're going to have the little back and forth between our two gentlemen here, but it's like, non-compete wasn't, he didn't get the apology, or he didn't get what he wanted from Vaush. So now he's like up in the ante. He's bringing in something extra. He's bringing in a specific comment. But there's a problem here, which is that, one, as he just said, he doesn't really know what that means, and that's not inherently a problem. But the fact that, from what I consider, I don't think the thing Vaush said there is like actually racist in any way. Like, it's not racist. So non-compete, not understanding what he meant, it's like non-compete doesn't understand what he meant. He's kind of hoping it was racist, because that would be really good for his argument if Vaush said a racist thing about Luna there. But since Vaush didn't say a racist thing about Luna, it's like non-compete's kind of he's like taking a shot while like blindfolded. He's hoping it hits. He would love if it hit, but he's blindfolded. It's just Vaush, you said this thing and it was racist, right? You said a racist thing, didn't you? Which, unfortunately, it puts him, like, rhetorically, it puts him in a bit of a vulnerable position, because, he doesn't know the fact that, actually, it wasn't racist, so, haha, you're fucked anyway. But it's also just rhetorically, it's like, it's a bit of a desperate gamble, because even if it was racist, it's not, but it's like, even if he was, because non-compete doesn't really know what was even meant by it in the first place, it's like, even if it was racist, Vaush could give an explanation that made it not sound racist, and non-compete would then be having to, like, deal with that like, new information. It's kind of like they say, I'm going to just pair, but it's like in a courtroom. In a courtroom, people get the wrong idea from, like, TV dramas and stuff, but in court, at least, I'm American, so I'm speaking U.S. court. In court, all evidence, any items of evidence, they are submitted to the court before the trial. And for the most part, generally, the lawyers from both sides, the prosecution and the defense, they have access or visibility to the evidence that has been submitted. Like, they can see what evidence the other side has submitted. So, like, the whole thing in movies where someone, like, I've been watching Joseph Anderson's streams of the Phoenix Wright games, which, boy howdy, those are not how a fucking court actually operates. But it's like the whole dramatic movie thing of, like, Your Honor, I have a new piece of evidence which shows my client. It's like, in real life court, oh my god, a judge would, like, fucking penalty the shit out of it. That would, like, be a fucking mistrial if you actually, like, pulled out some, like, this evidence exonerates my client. It's like, well, why the fuck didn't you submit it then, you stupid idiot? Fuck you. Like, so it's the thing in court, where in court, and it's like, I think the example that's usually gets said with too is, like, questioning with a witness. When you're a lawyer and you're questioning a witness, even if the witness is, like, for the other side, like, they're kind of, like, not on your side, but you're, like, you're questioning them anyway. The general advice, the general, like, tact for a lawyer is that you shouldn't be surprised by anything they say. If you ask a witness a question as a lawyer, you should have a pretty good idea of what their answer is going to be. Because if you don't know what their answer is going to be, why are you asking them? You're rolling the fucking dice then, because they could say something that really fucks you over because you didn't know. So non-compete's right into the issue there of he kind of got pushed into a corner with his first point. So he's, his pocket sand is redheaded stepchild of Vietnam, but then non-compete, what does he know what Vaush is going to answer? No, he doesn't. He has no idea what Vaush's answer is going to be. So this is a total gambit from him. And as we're going to see, it doesn't fucking work at all. Which then ends up reflecting poorly on him, because, like, gotcha denied, fucker.
Oh, I don't know. I threw out probably like 100 or 200 insults. I don't even remember the one.
And just, that's a bit of a funny thing, too, just to mention that just, like, because in a way, it's kind of like, it, like, undercuts the legs a bit, because, like, one point I've wanted to make, and this is a good time to make it, tying into my general thing of I don't ever expect people to be perfect. Because if you expect people to be perfect, I mean, you're going to be real fucking disappointed, so why do it? You're better off expecting what you can expect from people. NonCompete's married to Luna. So, presumably, NonCompete loves Luna and spends lots of time with her and has a very deep, personal, emotional relationship with her. So, NonCompete is probably, to some extent, biased towards his wife. Why wouldn't he be? This is the thing I was saying earlier about his discomfort, and where I don't expect people to be perfect. I can give someone a lot of slack for being biased towards their spouse. It makes sense to me that someone would be biased towards their spouse. You know, in a way, it's like you would kind of be surprised if someone wasn't a bit biased towards their spouse. Yeah, and again, with like the U.S. court comparison, as far as I'm aware, in the U.S. legal system, you cannot, it's not even an option. You cannot ask someone to, like, testify as a witness against their spouse. So, like, if a dude is accused of a crime and he has a wife, it's, like, procedurally not even allowed to bring the wife in for questioning. And from what I can tell, I think that's mostly just based on the idea that, like, no shit, people are gonna, like, lie or just be, like, really biased. Or just, it's like, what info is someone's spouse gonna give you that's gonna, like, help if you're prosecuting? Like, they're either gonna just explicitly lie because, like, it's their spouse on the line. You know, if my spouse was accused of murder, I'd say whatever the fuck I thought would get them off for, right? Like, who do I care more about, right? Like, the integrity of the U.S. justice system or my life partner who I love and care about, right? So it's like a rule to just, like, don't even bother with that, because it's just going to mess things up if you bring their spouse on and they tell the court about how they're the greatest, nicest, coolest person who's ever existed and how dare you accuse them of such a thing, right? It's like there's not even a fucking point. And from a general understanding of, like, human psychology and whatnot, that's pretty expected. It's pretty reasonable. It would kind of actually be a weird reflection of a person if they, like, weren't biased towards their spouse, because it's like, this is your spouse. This is, like, the person you're, like, choosing and are, like committed to and with. It would kind of seem weird if you don't, like them more than everyone else, because why did you choose to choose to dedicate yourself with them in that way? So it's like on the thing here with NonCompete. He's biased towards his wife Luna. That's understandable, and if anything, it's a good thing. It's actually a good reflection on him that he's biased towards his wife. Because, like I was saying, it would actually be kind of concerned if he would, like, if when Vaush was like, yeah, fuck her. If NonCompete was like, well, I mean, you got a point. Like, it's like, okay, wait, that's weird. That's your wife that he's talking about. But then where this, like, kind of then circles back, where I'm going to critique NonCompete is, okay, NonCompete, you're biased towards your wife. I'm going to be nice and presume that he has some awareness that as a human, he's biased towards his spouse. Because again, like, no shit, people probably know that. But then, in terms of this confrontation he's having with Vaush, you gotta really think where it's like, she's not Vaush's wife. Vaush doesn't know this bitch. All right, I'm using. I called her. I called Luna Oi a bitch. Like, yeah, because she's not my fucking wife either. I don't care. Right? Like, you know, I'm not like trying to be shitty or something, right? But it's if tomorrow, if I just think it's like it's a true fact that like if tomorrow, if a drunk driver crashes into Luna Oi while she's walking through an intersection and kills her, it's like it's not going to really affect my life. Like I don't know this lady. I don't watch her videos. People get killed by drunk drivers every day, and like, do you know their names? I fucking don't. It's probably multiple people a day. I don't know them, so I'm not like broken up about it. I'm not gonna like pretend to be like solemn about it. So it's like just you gotta, it's non-compete's biased toward, it's the thing where I'm saying it's not a fault on non-compete that he's biased towards his wife. That's reasonable. The fault is not accounting for that in how someone like Vaush, because it's like Vaush clearly, right? I'm sure non-compete is aware that's like, okay, Vaush has like a political contention with his wife, and then you gotta think like, hey, if you have a serious political contention with someone, if you have big disagreements about their politics, it's not unreasonable that you might be mean towards them, right? Because you think their politics are like bad and harmful. So a bit of meanness could help, kind of like push that, help kind of seal the deal a bit on like, man, let me really say how I feel about this fucking person, right? Like Bosch ain't holding anything back when he was talking shit about Luna. He was saying it with his chest out, the whole damn thing, all on the table. Which, as like an observer who generally likes Vaush and like isn't a fan of Luna in any way, it's like, yeah, I kind of like appreciate that in a way. Like if you really fucking have a distaste for her politics, it's like, yeah, you should express that. Call her a bastard stepchild of Vietnam. Like, yeah, fuck it. It's like I'm not torn up about it. And again, it gets into the thing of like, well, okay, I'm not really seeing what's racist about that, because it's like, yeah, okay, he mentioned Vietnam. She is from Vietnam, and she went to school in Vietnam. And evidently, or whatever, the video of hers that Vaush watched had to do with like Vietnamese education and like theory and how they like teach and define and use terms there. So the state of Vietnam, the Vietnamese government, which, from if I'm remembering correctly, which considers itself like a communist government, the government considers itself to like be engaged in the practice of building communism. It seems relevant to mention that Luna might be biased as a Vietnamese person who grew up in Vietnam, that she might, be biased or unaware or ignorant in some ways that like favor the perspectives espoused by the Vietnamese government. Right? Like this is one of those things where the person's race could be relevant to a point, but it's like it doesn't have anything to do with racism. Because as Vaush was just like kind of saying, it's like, he doesn't like the Chinese government, and it's like that's not a like racial thing. He doesn't like the actions of the Chinese government, and if he thought a Chinese person was defending the actions of the Chinese government, he would say the same thing about them, swap Vietnam out for China. And I'm sorry if you can hear my cat. He's losing his mind in the background for some reason, because it's been like 3 hours since he was played with, so it's the end of the world for him. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
What you're saying right now, I'm sure in context it was very funny.
Remember what you've said tells me you weren't being too careful when you talked about her as an individual. Like,
all right, we'll just pause. Let's think about what non-compete just said there. That's not like a statement I think he had planned. That's just him off the top of his head trying to throw something back at Vaush. I don't think it really has much weight to it. it's one of those things where it's like some of it's a matter of charitability, but as someone who was like already on Vaush's side, or say up to this point in the conversation on Vaush's side, when non-compete says that, to me it's just like, in my head I just hear the word, I just hear like cope, he's coping, oh he's coping, oh this thing you said, it was like really bad. Like I said a lot of things, and I don't think that one thing I said was actually that bad. Well, you can't even remember all the things you said they were so bad. It's like, what?
Well,
Maybe you forgot a little bit.
I can't remember every insult I deliver over a whole stream. I mean, that's hours every day I'd have to log. I don't have that much storage space in my head.
I don't know. I think you could be careful. I think you could be more careful about how you talk about
Well,
other people. But okay.
What you've said.
All right, and fucking posterity. Let's rewind 10 seconds. Let's just watch it all again before I even say anything. Let's just watch it all again. In the context of everything I've been saying, I'm providing some metatextual info to act as an overlay on this encounter here. Let's see.
Well, I can't remember every insult I deliver over a whole stream. I mean, that's hours every day I'd have to log. I don't have that much storage space in my head.
I don't know. I think you could be careful. I think you could be more careful about how you talk about other people. But okay.
What you've said there.
I think this is good.
All right, it's like non-compete seems to be aware that was kind of like some dumb shit to say. That right? We can see Vaush is pretty clearly unfazed by that, and I would say as he should be. That wasn't really shit. That wasn't anything to get worked up about. So he's coming off fairly stoked. Oh my god, kitty! Oh, kitty, you're just not the kitty. Oh my god, you're losing your fucking mind. I'm gonna stop in a minute. I'm gonna stop soon anyway because I have to. But Jesus, I love my cat. He's cute. He's also just a bit of like a needy boy sometimes. But just one of those things to look at here. That like, yeah, okay, it seems like non-compete. It's like maybe, like flustered. I don't know if like flustered is quite the right word because he's not like agitated. But we can definitely see where it's like I was saying before, just the wall where it's just kind of like. It seems like non-compete is aware that what he's doing isn't getting him where he wants to go. And obviously that wouldn't be a problem for Vaush, because they're in a adversarial kind of thing right now, so I mean Vaush should be happy with that. Vaush has no reason to give that to him. And non-compete is, we can actually say, he's kind of wisely trying to like change the subject a bit, and it's one of those things where I think it reflects a bit poorly on him that he's making this attempt here, and it's like not working, and it doesn't seem to have been a very well thought out attempt, and the ways in which it's not working seem to reflect that. And Vaush is just like completely unfazed by it, and as he should be. And so it's a bit of a smart move from non-compete to say, yeah, fuck it, let's move on to the next point, because that's at least an awareness that what he's doing isn't working, and it's I don't think he's like too happy about moving on to the next point, but out of all the options he has, that's probably like the wisest one for his case. So I have had a lot of fun doing this. I've been streaming for over 2 hours. It's a bit late on my end. And unfortunately, the way my apartment is, I don't have a way to keep the cat away from me. So you can probably hear him just moaning in pain like he didn't eat 2 hours ago or something. So, I have fun doing this. I want to do more of this. I want to get more than 17 minutes into this debate I thought I was going to cover. So, I'm gonna try to do this tomorrow. I think I have time tomorrow that I can sit down and finish off the rest of this. So I'll see.